If you don't believe in miracles, this story will change your mind forever. What you're about to hear was documented by doctors, recorded on video, and witnessed by hundreds of people. Prepare yourself emotionally, because this story will give you chills from the first word to the last. Sarah Mitchell was 74 years old when her life changed forever. But to understand the miracle, you first need to know about the 52 years of darkness she lived through. And I guarantee you, when you hear what happened in that church, you'll never doubt the power of faith again. It was an ordinary Tuesday in March 1972. Sarah was at the peak of her life, 22 years old, freshly graduated in architecture, about to marry her college boyfriend. She had giant dreams. She wanted to design houses for underprivileged families, travel the world, have children. But that day, a headache changed everything. It started like a normal migraine, Sarah told me, with tears in her eyes. But within hours, I couldn't see properly anymore. The images became blurred, distorted. Her boyfriend rushed her to the hospital. Doctors performed every possible test: MRI, CT scan, blood work. The diagnosis was devastating: autoimmune optic neuritis, a rare disease that was destroying Sarah's optic nerves. The doctors were direct with me, she remembers. They said that within weeks I would lose my vision completely and that it was irreversible. Dr. Robert Chen, the neurologist who accompanied her, confirmed. Sarah's case was one of the most aggressive I've ever seen. The optic nerves were being attacked by her own immune system. We tried all available treatments: corticosteroids, immunosuppressants, experimental therapies. Nothing worked. In 2 months, Sarah was completely blind. Her fiancé couldn't handle the pressure and broke off the engagement. He said he wasn't prepared to take care of a person with disabilities, Sarah reveals, her voice choked with emotion. At that moment, I thought about giving up on everything. Sarah had to rebuild her life from scratch. She learned Braille, trained with a cane, adapted to a world without sight. But fate had more trials in store for her. At 27, she discovered she was pregnant. It was a twin pregnancy, the result of a relationship that didn't work out. When I found out they were twins, I panicked, she confesses. How was I going to take care of 2 babies while being blind? Her family pressured her to give the children up for adoption. They said I was irresponsible, that a blind person couldn't raise children properly. But Sarah made the most difficult decision of her life. She would raise the children alone. I never saw my children's faces, she told me, tears streaming down. I knew them by touch, by voice, by smell. I imagined what they looked like based on people's descriptions. Lucas and Amanda were born healthy. Sarah became an extraordinary mother, compensating for her lack of sight with abundant love. She learned to change diapers in the dark, prepare bottles, detect when the children were sick just by their crying. To support her family, she worked as a massage therapist. My fingers became my eyes, she explains. I could detect muscle tension, circulation problems, just by touch. The years passed. Lucas and Amanda grew up being their mother's eyes. They guided her through the streets, described the world to her, helped with household chores. They were a family united by adversity. But Sarah carried a deep pain. She had never seen her own children's faces. Every night I dreamed of them, she reveals. I imagined their smiles, the color of their eyes, their expressions. But they were just dreams. The children grew up, graduated from college, got married, had children of their own. Sarah became a grandmother of 6, but she had never seen any of their faces either. She knew her grandchildren only by their voices, their laughter, their embraces. The hardest part was when my grandchildren would ask me, "Grandma, what do I look like?" And I could only say, "You're beautiful, sweetheart. I can feel it in my heart." In 2024, Sarah began attending a prayer group at Faith Community Church. She had never been very religious, but the loneliness and exhaustion of 52 years of struggle made her seek spiritual support. I didn't go there expecting a miracle, she clarifies. I just wanted peace, strength to continue. Dr. Jennifer Walsh, the ophthalmologist on duty, couldn't believe what she was seeing. The tests showed that Sarah's optic nerves were completely damaged. There was no visual function, but she was responding to light. Within 48 hours, the impossible happened. Sarah's vision was completely restored. I remember the exact moment, she tells me, her voice trembling. I opened my eyes and saw Lucas's face for the first time. He was 49 years old, with grey hair and wrinkles, but to me he was the most beautiful sight in the world. He was crying, smiling at the same time. I touched his face and said, "My son, you're even more handsome than I imagined." Amanda, who was holding her mother's hand, also broke down in tears. "Mum, are you really seeing me?" "Zrenia," she asked. Sarah nodded, gently touching her daughter's face. "My beautiful daughter," Sarah said, "you look exactly like I dreamed you would." The news spread rapidly through the hospital. Dr. Robert Chen, the neurologist who had treated Sarah 52 years earlier, was called to examine the case. "When I saw the tests, I couldn't believe it," he admits. "The optic nerves were completely regenerated. In medicine, this is impossible. Optic nerves don't regenerate." A multidisciplinary medical team was formed to investigate the case. Ophthalmologists, neurologists, immunologists, psychiatrists all reached the same conclusion. There was no scientific explanation. "We performed every possible test," explains Dr. Walsh. MRI, CT scan, angiography, electroretinography. Everything indicated that Sarah had perfect vision. The optic nerves were intact, functioning normally. The doctors compared the 1972 tests with those from 2024. The difference was shocking. In the old tests, the optic nerves were visibly damaged. In the new ones, they were perfect. "In 52 years of medicine, I've never seen anything like it," confesses Dr. Chen. "I can't explain this with current science." The case was documented in international medical journals. Specialists from around the world analyzed the tests. The conclusion was unanimous: medically impossible. Sarah's story spread around the world. She was interviewed by newspapers, magazines, TV programs. Doctors, scientists, theologians debated the case, but the most extraordinary impact happened at Faith Community Church. People from all over the country began arriving, seeking healing prayers.
"I don't consider myself special," Sarah clarifies. "I believe God used my story to show that He still performs miracles." And the miracles continued happening. Maria Santos, 67 years old, blind for 15 years due to diabetes, recovered her sight after a prayer with Sarah. Carlos Alberto, 34 years old, who lost his vision in an accident, regained his sight after participating in a service. To this day, more than 200 people have reported cures from blindness after prayers at the church where Sarah had her vision restored. The medical community is divided. Some speak of spontaneous remission, others of collective placebo effect. But the tests don't lie. Blind people are regaining their sight. "I don't understand how this happens," admits Dr. Walsh, "but I've seen people who were clinically blind regain their sight. The tests prove it. I can't deny the facts." Sarah now travels the world telling her story. She opened a support center for people with visual impairments. Her children, now in their late 40s, help her with the work. And her grandchildren, ages 8 to 23, are her constant companions. "I spent 52 years in darkness," she reflects. "But now I understand that darkness prepared me to value every ray of light. Every day I wake up and see my children's faces, my grandchildren's faces, is a miracle." Lucas and Amanda became extraordinary adults, shaped by the experience of caring for a blind mother. They are more empathetic, more careful, more grateful for life. Our family went through a lot of suffering, says Amanda, but that suffering united us. And when Mom regained her sight, it was like we were all born again. The most emotional moment came when Sarah met her 6 grandchildren for the first time. I held each one's face in my hands, she says, tears streaming. I could finally see their beautiful eyes, their smiles, their expressions. They were even more wonderful than I had imagined. Sarah's story makes us question the limits of medicine and faith. Are there forces that science doesn't yet understand? Can prayer really heal the incurable? Doctors continue studying the case. Skeptics continue seeking explanations. But one thing is undeniable. Sarah Mitchell was completely blind for 52 years and now sees perfectly. I don't need to convince anyone, Sarah concludes. I live the miracle every day. When I wake up in the morning and see the sun coming through the window, when I look at my children, when I see the colors of the world for the first time at 74 years old, that's proof enough for me. And you? After hearing this story, what do you believe? Leave your comment below. Your opinion is important to us. If this story touched your heart, share it with someone who needs hope. Sometimes a miracle is closer than we imagine. Thank you for watching until the end. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and activate notifications so you don't miss the next stories of faith and miracles. Until next time, and may God bless your life.